And now things are starting to get real. Welcome to Play in the Field, a Bachelor podcast. I'm your host, Ryan Field. Pleasure to be back after missing a couple of episodes, which Gina and Jed said those were their favorite of the season, which I thought was a little ridiculous that they would say that.
Well, one was.
One was? Which one? One of the two?
I feel bad you missed out on
I know. That was a good episode.
Great.
Yes.
So if you haven't listened, go back. Find the episode, listen to it.
Susie's take on everything.
Yes.
She is Jen Matarese here in New York, our Bachelor insider, our Bachelor expert, Gina Sirico, out there at KABC in Los Angeles. Ladies, catch me up. What have I missed? Susie was great.
Yes, and then Gina spoke to Wells and Jonathan.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well,
it was a busy week over here.
As I was watching this last episode, I couldn't help but think of Gina in how crushed she must be, and that her BFF Jonathan is causing all of these issues in Paradise. Gina, we'll start with you. Did you see this coming? Jonathan being the misleading type? I definitely didn't see that coming.
Well, I don't know about misleading.
Very much misleading.
No,
it's so funny. I knew you were going to come to his defense. I absolutely knew you were going to.
What can you do? Like, I feel like, look, I think if anybody is misleading on this show, it's Jeremy.
Well, nobody likes Jeremy.
We're gonna get into that. Yeah.
Except for Bailey.
Here's the thing, though. Yeah.
For now.
Yeah, we got to get her on and have a conversation about that.
We absolutely do.
But I feel like with Jonathan, look, here's the thing. If you know, you know. And again, like, I understand it's a show and all of that, but if you're not feeling it, you're not feeling it. Alex said it to him, like, look, I don't know that I can get there. And fair, you know what I mean? If he hasn't been able to make a connection, he hasn't been able to make a connection. And maybe maybe Paradise isn't the right show for him.
But
you know what I'm saying?
I think he didn't lay it out. Like, I think he didn't say to her, this is just friends.
Right.
I think there was like a lingering question there.
Exactly.
So that was a problem.
My whole point in this episode is to get Gina and Jen sparring against one another, because that's when things are
It'll
great.
never happen.
When they don't gang up on me and instead go at each other. Those are my favorite episodes. But listen, you're right, because you only have a short amount of time in Paradise, and you kind of have to lay it on the line, especially now with $500,000 at stake.
Yeah.
And you need to kind of strategize and make sure everybody is on the same page, shall we say. And for him to not necessarily explain all of that to Leah, and for her to think it was going a different direction. And then it was Kat who basically told her what had transpired.
Yeah.
How did you ladies feel about that? How did you feel that Kat told her? Did you think that was the right thing to do?
Yes. Yeah. I don't think she needs that question. And you don't want to see her trying to make something happen. That's just not going to happen.
Right.
It's sort of like, oh, well, that's a bummer. And
and I'm glad that she went and talked to him right away.
Yes.
Like, it's, no hesitation. Like, Leah is like that. She will, she's going to tell you like it is. And so there you go. She went and she had that conversation, and she was just like, okay, you don't think it's going to be a romantic? And I did like that she asked, do you have another romantic connection with somebody here?
Right.
And he said no.
Or elsewhere,
so at least,
she said.
She knows that. Or elsewhere. Yeah. And he said no. So, you know what? At least she knows it's not like because of somebody else.
But then it means it's just
something
you.
that wasn't clicking.
Right.
Well, it wasn't clicking. But there you go.
It's not me, it's you. It's absolutely you.
Just in case you were wondering. But Gina and I were talking before, Gina, and I said he should have just given it a shot. Like, hey, let's just have a kiss to see if there's any sparks there.
Exactly.
Like they did early on in the show. Because she's gorgeous. Like, what is he doing?
Well, and listen, it was one of those things where I feel like he's almost kind of mailed it in at this point. Yeah. He's just kind of resigned himself to the fact that he hasn't found a connection in Paradise, and he's like, if I go home, I go home. But was that not the most baller thing to say at a rose ceremony, what she told him? Jonathan, you're welcome.
That was the best.
That was unbelievable. I don't recall ever seeing something like that.
No, but I think it's interesting because you have all these different couples, right? And some are upfront with the fact that they're just friends, like Keith and Kathy, for example. And then you have this one where they're kind of like she doesn't seem like she even wants to be there with him, but she's like, well, here you go, and let's just win some money.
Yeah, right.
Well, yeah, because that's the thing, with Bailey and Jeremy having the power, so to speak, she could have, like, if she said, you know what, this isn't going to work, I'm done, I'm over it, she could have been like, gone to them and been like, just take us out, because this obviously isn't working. But she didn't do that. She wanted to, they both, she wanted to stay and try and win them, try and win the money. She knows obviously now that that's, the case. So it's interesting.
It's interesting, but
they're playing the game now.
I would have liked to have seen Gary and Leslie get to stay instead. Like, if they could have, like, if we would have kicked Jonathan and Leia off and then gotten to keep them, that would have been
exactly.
nice.
Especially now that we know that there's no love connection between the two.
Yeah.
Last question on this topic. If you were Leia, would you have still given Jonathan the rose?
Yeah, if that was my only option, I want to try to win the money. Because I wouldn't want to pass up that chance. When do you get that chance in life again?
Yeah, right. Yeah. And this almost felt like a doubleheader, sports term, to have both rose ceremonies in the same episode.
Mansplaining.
That's not a mansplain. Listen, me being the sports guy, I can say if I want to insert a sports term, for me it kind of brings it full circle is what it does.
All right.
That doesn't, because this is the game of love.
Judges.
Are we not talking about the game of love here? Judges?
Gina?
What do you mean I got all 0.0s? Worst score ever. Listen, we got a lot to talk about besides these girls thinking I'm mansplaining things about sports terms. One of the big things, obviously, from this doubleheader, if you will, I love the reaction that April got when she got eliminated, which basically showed you how much she meant to everybody in the house. The big group hug, and we had her on the podcast a couple weeks ago. She was quirky yet delightful. I thought she was awesome.
She is. And that was the sweetest moment. It's like up there with one of the sweetest moments on the show, I think. Just like the love. And like she said, she did find love. It was just a friendship love.
Right. But
that was the sweetest moment.
Yeah, I agree with both of you. So awesome. April, Nancy, and Natasha all eliminated in the first rose ceremony. And then
By the way, for Natasha, I would just like to say I'm going to miss her chair earrings. I don't know if do you remember what those were? I don't know if you guys remember from her season in The Bachelorette or in The Golden Bachelor. She kept saying that they should, for the Goldens, have chairs at the rose ceremony. And that was her little symbol of that.
Very astute observation, Gina.
I had a sports reference where I thought it was like WWE.
No, I'm having earrings women-splained to me is I think what's going on now.
No, it was the symbolism of the chairs.
I see. When the shoe's on the other foot. Can we
totally different situation?
Yeah, totally different situation. My point exactly. Can we all agree that Gary fumbled the bag?
Oh.
I mean, come on, Gary. It was a layup. All you have to do is bet one chip. If that's literally the least he could do.
Yes.
And they would be moving on to the next round. And you could see the disappointment and hear the disappointment in Leslie's reaction, and understandably so.
She was very restrained, right? Like, she could have really gotten kind of mad about that. And she was just, like, disappointed.
Okay, that brings up a question, Gina. If you were Leslie, how visibly upset would you be knowing that he really screwed this up, but also knowing that you're on TV in front of millions of people and maybe you're trying to save face at the same time?
It was a little bit of everything. Like, I get, like, she's disappointed, but I also feel like maybe she thought that their connection was strong enough that Bailey and Jeremy would be like, yes, continue on. That's the whole point, is like they had to go and kind of like grovel to those two. And you know what I mean? Like, they all had to do that. So I feel bad for her because they did kind of have a layup. Sports term.
Look at you guys.
You know what? I love that, Gina. That's music to my ears. Keep it going.
He messed it up and he admitted it and everybody knew. And so, look, it is what it is, and live and learn. And, again, I think they thought maybe that their connection was strong enough that Bailey and Jeremy would be like, yeah, let's have you continue. But they didn't.
I would have loved to seen the two of them have more time.
Absolutely.
Me too.
They
especially since in the beginning of the episode they were like, it's the summer of Gary.
I love that he called himself Big G. Can we talk about that for a second? He was kind of speaking in, what was that, third person? Big G's having problems here, whatever
That's
he
when
said.
You know that you've arrived.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, did he call himself Big G when he was on our podcast? I don't recall him doing
I don't
that.
think so.
I don't
he
think
was
he
much more
did.
humble.
No, he was much more humble then. Now he's got all this attention, and now he's Big G. Which brings us to the next point, or next part of this. You guys have brought up Bailey and Jeremy and the very tough position that Bailey was put in, knowing that she has to give away 2 roses to the 3 women who are left. And I always lean on you two in these type of situations. Has this ever happened before in Bachelor history?
I don't recall it. Do you, Gina?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
This was new.
I don't think
And
so.
it was, you know, and he kind of hinted at it, not hinted at it, basically said it. Jesse saying things are about to change, and knowing that the money is involved, and now all of this power is in Bailey's hands, and you could feel the stress knowing this decision that she had to make. And you have 2 very cute golden couples to choose between, but also, I think maybe lost in some of this is her relationship with Parisa, someone that she's known for a while,
Sure.
who's her friend. So it's like, how do you pick against her, even knowing that her relationship with Brian might not be as strong as the other 2 golden couples? So I guess put yourself in Bailey's shoes, Jen, in how you would handle this going forward in her position.
I mean, I kind of agreed with Jeremy where he was like, you got to think about the game at this point. And I probably would have gotten rid of Brian and Parisa.
Right. But even though she's your friend, I
Yes.
guess that's the whole thing.
Well, and things were not going well. And I think the other women had seen some of that. So maybe they could have like put that relationship out of its misery if it needed to be. I don't know. But then you have Kim and Faith, and they were making out all over the
They're my new
place.
favorite couple. I love Kim and Faith. I'm just happy to see Captain Kim find happiness. We're going to get to that in a second. But Gina, just piggybacking on Jen's point, do you agree with her in terms of how Bailey handled that?
Well, here's the thing. I think that if you're looking at Brian, if you're going to look game-wise, like strategically, you know, Brian and Parisa are not a strong couple, and Gary and Leslie were. So maybe that's why, you know, if you're thinking, you know, like, let's get the strong couple out of the way, and you've got Brian and Parisa there. Although Brian, like, really angered me throughout this whole thing where he, like, pulled, you know, Jeremy aside and was acting like the Godfather. It's like, oh,
And they were playing the Godfather music.
Nice connection.
That was
nice
great.
connection you have there. It'd be a shame to see anything happen to it, you know, and it's like, he just icks me out.
And
I get the ick.
he definitely gives people the ick. That's what the kids say these days, right? Ick.
No, but, you know, if you remember last episode when they won the challenge and they were in the jacuzzi and she was like, oh, what's your favorite color and this and that. All that information, all the little small talk could have been helpful in this betting challenge because it's all these little things you needed to know. So, Brian, you were wrong.
He shot her down and made her feel bad about it.
Shot her down.
Absolutely.
Exactly. Exactly.
You guys said you don't like Jeremy, but I think we can all agree that
I don't like him either.
Brian is far worse than Jeremy. And
We'd still love to have you on the show, by the way.
absolutely, Brian, we'd love to, whenever you have a free moment. David is actually looking for your information as we speak. It's going to get you on the podcast. But it's one of those things, too, where with Brian and Jeremy, I like how they flash back to Jen's season, the whole incident with the car. And I kind of thought that Jeremy might try to pull the plug on them and get his little revenge all this time later for what Brian did to him on the opening night of Jen's season.
Yeah, I think maybe in hindsight, they can both look back and be like, well, it got us airtime, right? I mean, it helped out in that regard.
And Gina, what do you make of their relationship at this point? I was watching the body language, especially during that Godfather conversation, and I'm like, is it one of those things where it's like, keep your friends close and your enemies closer? That's almost kind of what it feels like.
That's what I thought. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like Jeremy... First of all, I have a feeling if it was up to only Jeremy, he would have had them gone before the rose ceremony even happened. That's what I think. But I think Bailey kind of like helped him on the strategy part of it. That's
or
just
maybe
my own
because of her
personal
relationship with Parisa, maybe that played a part in it as well.
Yeah, and you know, it could be one of many things. But I do feel like Brian is a little bully. You know what I mean? And I feel like, you know, he, was trying to bully, obviously, Jeremy into keeping him. And then, like, you know, just maybe, if you're nice enough, I'll keep your secret of like wanting Susie there, and maybe I won't tell her. But obviously we know that that's not going to happen because he's totally going to tell her.
I thought Brian was going to tell Jeremy, I know what you did, and I'm going to tell Bailey if you don't make sure I advance to the next round. I thought he was going to use that against him and really try to force his way, force Jeremy's hand in order to get a Rose to move on. I thought he was going to blackmail him. That's what I thought was going to happen.
I thought so too.
And he may have.
Maybe he alluded to it a little.
I think they would have showed that if he said it. There's no way they leave that out. No way.
I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe they left it out.
Maybe Brian really just thinks highly of Bailey and is looking out for her.
But true, but as you both have...
Brian is looking out for himself.
Also true, but as you both have correctly pointed out, this is now a competition, and there's now $500,000 at stake. So the strategy has changed, and if I'm Brian, I'm doing everything I can to try to get this Rose, and maybe not quite going to blackmail, but I thought he might, knowing what a snake in the grass this guy is, I had a feeling that he might go down that road. And now, as we look ahead in the trailer for the next episode, I feel like he's about to go nuclear.
It's gonna
and Bailey wants to go home, and Jeremy is going to be caught between a rock and a hard place for sure. But I guess if you're Bailey and if you're Jeremy, do you feel like this is, can you blame him for what he did with Susie? And is it possible that he felt one way at that point, and now his relationship with Bailey has now gone to another level, that what happened in the past doesn't really matter?
I think it still matters. I don't know. If I were Bailey and I was watching it back, I would be really upset. And I would have a hard time getting past that. I don't know. Gina, how about you?
I totally agree. And by the way, it wasn't like it just happened. It happened days ago. Like the night before, he was talking to, I think it was Brian, with the mic off about like wanting Susie. I said this about Susie, and I think about Susie, and it's like,
did he even say something about proposing to Susie in the end or something? He's like, I could see myself like proposing or something.
Well, for the viewers that may have missed it, what did Susie say when you guys talked to her about this?
She said they had a good time on their date,
right?
But she just wasn't really ready to be in that mindset, I think. And and she was going home. She's like, there was no way I was going back into that situation.
Exactly.
Yeah, and you can't blame her for that, and you can't blame Brian for now wanting to tell Bailey and maybe eliminate another couple. True. Because Bailey and Jeremy seem to be going strong, and if he goes ahead and sabotages them and knocks them out, that's one less couple to worry about with $500,000 at stake. One couple they may have to worry about is the couple that I am loving, as I said, Kim and Faith. Captain Kim, I thought, was going home on the first night.
I know.
And now he has gone all of this way.
Good for him.
And, maybe we need another poem. Maybe we need another Mansion Men song.
Maybe that's something they have in common, because she's a musician.
Right, exactly.
Poetry, it kind of goes together.
They're going to start doing acoustic shows nightly in Paradise. I think it's going to be great. But can we agree that they are now kind of rising up the ranks? Kim and Faith?
They're having a good time. They're getting along. They're asking each other. They talk a lot.
Yeah.
So,
And we've seen Kim get emotional several times talking about his late wife. And he's just one of those guys that, he spent his life serving in the military. And, I feel like as a guy that just wants to find happiness at this point in his life, and a guy that has given so much back to his country and everything else for so long, you kind of want something good to happen for him. And I think Faith coming into this picture at this point is something that's good happening for him.
Do you see them lasting beyond Paradise?
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's still kind of early in the game for them, but I think the connection is strong out of the gate. And I think, when you're in your 60s, as they are, maybe you look at things through a little bit of a different lens. Mm-hmm. And I think they could find happiness. What about Gary and Leslie? Do you think they're still going strong after leaving Paradise?
I think they're friends.
Yeah. Did they even kiss? Did I miss that?
It was a little pecks.
A little peck, yeah. I never saw,
no making out.
I was expecting more from Big G.
I know.
I was expecting
Big
him
G probably would have loved that.
Absolutely.
But
and Big G would have told us all about how much he liked it.
He probably wasn't getting the signal to go for it.
Oh my God.
Gina, do you agree that they're just friends now at this point?
Probably. I mean, we'll see. But back to Kim and Faith. If I'm not mistaken, they are from the same state.
Yes, right, from the state of Washington.
So it's a little bit easier of a
transition.
Distance.
Yeah.
Distance relationship wise. You know what I mean? If it's like a couple hours drive or whatever, it's probably easier for them to continue to build afterwards. So hopefully they do.
And hopefully we can get them on the podcast as well. I see David making notes, so that's great. We're going to have them as guests here shortly. That would be wonderful. But looking ahead to next week, guys, I mean, I think all bets are off in terms of what's about to transpire here.
Oh, gosh, I kind of can't wait to see this. Is that bad?
Well, you texted us after this last episode, and you said, no, that's an episode, I think was what you said.
There was so much in this episode.
Yeah, there was a lot.
2 rose ceremonies, all of this drama. We've got the money at play. It's going to be big. I mean, it can only grow from here.
Yeah, and now we got next week where they're looking at maybe other interests, outside interests.
Yeah.
Jesse was like, hey, we know that some of you have interests in other people. And
I mean,
and then cut to Brian and Bailey like somehow matching up, and I'm like, oh,
could you imagine
Here we go.
Well, maybe that's part of Brian's motivation with Bailey and Jeremy. He wants Bailey, and he's going to sabotage her relationship with Jeremy so he can have her. Wouldn't that be something?
That would be something.
Nobody saw that one coming.
No, or Kathy makes a play for someone.
Yeah. Oh. How about Kathy and Keith? We didn't even talk about Kathy and Keith.
I wish they actually had a romantic interest in each other. I think Kathy might a little bit.
She might. I think she's warming up to it.
Keith keeps saying, like, oh, we're friends. But what if Kathy really turned on the heat?
Maybe so. And listen, we talked about what Leah did in the rose ceremony with Jonathan. I loved Keith's speech to Kathy when he gave her the rose. He had a long thing what he said about her. You guys are supposed to remember this stuff because you know you're both looking at me like, wait, what did he say?
You brought it up.
Yeah, I forget, but he like waxed poetically about Kathy before he gave her the rose. It wasn't just like, Kathy, will you accept this rose?
Yeah.
So I thought it was a nice touch and maybe kind of hinting that their relationship is going to another level.
Alex and Andrew are going strong.
Yeah, you know, they've been kind of in the background.
They're like a slow burn. That's
slow burn.
You know, that could pop up
to turn up the heat.
Yeah, as major contenders. We'll see.
Before we go, Gina, right now, based on what we know and what we've seen, who is your pick to win the $500,000? Who is the strongest couple at this point?
Spencer and Jess.
That's my thought too.
I think we can all agree on that.
I think that's who that's going to be. Yeah. We'll see.
He seems like the kind of guy that pays attention to detail.
Absolutely.
And that,
well, it also makes, but listen, to be fair, it also makes it easier that they've been together since day one and they genuinely really are into each other. And his entire focus has been strictly on her. So, yeah, I would agree with you guys. Well, I think he is the pick to win.
Bailey and Jeremy have also been together since day one. And
but we've seen, you know.
We know things.
Right. That Bailey does not know. So we shall.
She'll know. She's gonna
find out, and we're all gonna find out together. And I can't wait for next week as well. It's gonna be a lot of fun, and we can't wait to talk about it here on your favorite Bachelor podcast. If you like us, Jen, what do you need to do?
Like and follow.
This is Playing the Field. She is Jen. She is Gina. I am Ryan. We will see you next week right here for your favorite Bachelor show.